Hello, guys. I promise I'm not going to butcher the name. I butchered it on Friday during our Out of Turn 4 special. Welcome to Sunday Morning Tinkle. There, I got it right. I'm Brian, that's Jason. We're glad to bring you our After the Super Bowl show here.
Oh yeah.
Should be a fun one. Of course, the first half of the show we will talk the Super Bowl. Then we'll have our Tinkle rundown and Tinkle on this, which might be pretty good. If you're from Buffalo, you're going to love this one. Let me put it this way. If you're from Buffalo or Western New York like we are, you might want to kill somebody. So we'll tell you who that somebody is and why at the end of the show. But let's start off with talking about the Super Bowl. So the Cincinnati Bengals, they lose the Super Bowl to the LA Rams. And Matt Stafford goes 4-0 in the playoffs. Jason, what are your thoughts here about the game?
Oh, it was a statement game in the most for Matthew Stafford. Things can be said that, before OBJ got hurt, that he was just on fire. Went 9 for 10, over 100-something yards and 2 touchdowns before OBJ got hurt, and then kind of slipped down. But you know what? Matthew Stafford persevered. And Cooper Kupp, don't want to forget that man. He's the real reason why they went, undefeated in the playoffs. Came up in the clutch, got the winning field or touchdown, and I tell you, man, it's 2 years in a row that the team that hosts the Super Bowl win.
And another year where the team that loses the coin toss wins.
Yeah, it's odd how odd thing that happens.
I will.
Then you could be like, if only that was the case for the actual playoffs, not the Super Bowl. But I digress.
So.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Of course, we saw in the third quarter, at the very beginning, Jalen Ramsey took a hand to the face, got shoved down by Boyd, and Boyd ran it in for the touchdown. Of course.
Well, it was a face mask, not hands to the face. It was face mask. He grabbed the face
offensive pass interference, basically.
And no call.
Yep.
Yes.
So, do you think that negates the later call where, the Rams got it on the 1 yard line and got multiple tries at it? Does that negate it, or was it a bad call nonetheless?
It was honestly, if you want to call any penalty, and I tell you, this would have made a big difference in the game too. Mm-hmm. Not too much. They probably would have scored the next drive. You should have called it, because you're big on player safety, and the Super Bowl shouldn't be anything different about it. I get it, don't call every single penalty that there would be in a regular season or playoffs, but that's a big missed call that could have changed the whole dynamic of the Super Bowl in itself. Jalen Ramsey had every right to argue for the flag, because you can keep on watching the replay. It's clear as day that he held a face mask. No call.
Yeah.
But then they started making up for it towards the end with all those stupid penalties that gave the Rams extra opportunities to score. That right there would have changed the dynamic of the Super Bowl too.
Well, see, where I agree, that face mask should have been called. And I think had it been called as an offensive pass interference, which is what it would have been called as, I think for sure it would have negated the penalties late. And then I would argue that those penalties late were BS. But the fact of the matter is that the Bengals got a free 7 points off of that face mask, or the offensive pass interference. They got a free 7 points. You can call it any way you want, but that's the truth. That's what they got out of it. free 7 points, just like the Rams, and essentially it was a makeup call late in the game. And to the Bengals fans who are upset with that call, I can understand that. But you've got to understand they got the free 7 points back. So at the end of the day, it balances out, number one. Number two, you had a minute 25 left. You had 2 timeouts to get down the field. It's not like they made that call with like 8 seconds left and no timeouts, meaning you literally had to throw a Hail Mary to even have a shot. Like, you had a shot at winning the game. You were always in it in that final drive. 4th and 1. At the end of the day, it comes down to Joe Burrow was not protected. Okay? It comes down to that offensive line is what cost them. You cannot get sacked 7 times and expect to win a Super Bowl. And you especially cannot get rushed as much as Joe Burrow is and expect to win the game. Look at what happened to Patrick Mahomes last year with no offensive line. He absolutely got rocked in the Super Bowl. In fact, I think he ran for more yards east and west than he ever did north and south in that game. So
I think so too, yeah.
You know, I don't like to make excuses, but at the end of the day, that's what it came down to. I mean, Joe Burrow did not have enough time, because if he did, he would have seen Jamar Chase wide open down the field.
Oh, I know. That was just what I was just going to say that too. You know, I will say that, had P. Ryan actually caught that pass, like caught the ball just like flying in the air, that would definitely change the dynamic of the Super Bowl too.
Yeah.
You know, time will also say if they would have scored the next play or the next,
but
possession.
The other thing is, it was a pretty poor pass. It wasn't, a beaut by any means. Like, I mean, the pass was way off on Pirine.
Right.
So.
Well, Aaron Donald also did that to Jimmy Garoppolo, and it got intercepted. So I'm actually shocked it didn't get picked or caught or something.
Yeah.
Because Aaron Donald did that 2 weeks prior to the Super Bowl, and it was picked off for the game-sealing interception. So we know that Aaron Donald's a beast. And now the real question is, can that team run it back, as they say?
That's going to be interesting. Of course, Sean McVay will return next year. There were rumors about him retiring. His fiance went on Instagram to say he's coming back. But, boy, his negotiations are going to be interesting, because it sounds like ESPN... No, Sean McVay. It sounds like he's gotten offers from outside, like coaching. It sounds like he got offers from ESPN and CBS to be a commentator. So, and it sounds like he wants to really, he wants to be the highest paid coach in the league, which he rightfully deserves.
Right.
But, Aaron Donald said if OBJ and Von Miller come back, he'll come back. So they essentially want to run it back, and I hope they do, honestly. I hope they at least try to. But can I just say, in terms of the rest of the game, the commercials were garbage. Absolute
they were
garbage.
They were.
I've never seen worse commercials for a Super Bowl ever. And then, what else was there? The halftime show. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you like hip hop, you probably liked it, but I couldn't get behind it, honestly. I'm trying to look at it from a non-biased standpoint.
Honestly, I kind of liked it because it was old school hip hop.
Yeah.
The ones that, stayed true to the music, then just,
I do too, but you could tell it was so dubbed, and you could tell it was so pre-taped, like, at least the vocals were before they got on stage. And I'm sorry, that's not a concert. You're literally paying to listen to a YouTube video at that point.
You know, I don't think you'll ever see a Super Bowl where it's actually live anymore.
Hmm.
And you can thank a certain someone for that
You can
happening.
thank
But
Justin Timberlake. You can thank a bunch of others, really, for ruining it. Uh, so, but yeah, the only thing good about it was the game, to be
mhm.
honest. But I will tell you, though, it was a poorly officiated game. It was really a good officiated game up until the third quarter. I mean, they let him play, which is what fans want. But at the end of the day, it comes down to you're not going to please everybody.
No, of course
So,
not.
um, that's all I guess I'll say on in terms of the game itself. So I don't know. Should we wrap up this segment by making our picks for the Super Bowl next year? Our early
Um,
picks.
if I was to go early picks, I'm gonna say Bills and Rams. Honestly, I think that would be a very intriguing Super Bowl. And I'm not just saying it as a Bills fan. I just think that um, seeing what happened and everything, his light a fire under Josh Allen's ass.
Hmm.
Um, you can definitely tell he looked very like ready to get back to action after seeing Mahomes out there. I hope he works his ass off. I hope that this team can build for the future, and we'll happen to see. But the Rams are just too good of a team to get beat right now. Um, of course, what I would love to see happen, which wouldn't shock me, is Week 1, Thursday Night Football,
Hmm.
Bills Rams in Los Angeles. Raise the banner, give them their rings and
Hmm.
stuff like that. Be an interesting way to start off the season, but we'll see what happens, of course.
See, the Rams are going to have an easy schedule next year, so I'm not totally sold on them necessarily, but I will say, though, because they're defending champs, I have to go that way. Um, I wouldn't be shocked to see Green Bay do it, but I think it's going to be Buffalo's year. I think years and years of getting beat down by Kansas City is finally going to end in the playoffs. I just don't know. I think they will honestly beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, and I think they'll go on to the Super Bowl. I don't want to pick a winner because obviously we're still months
Well,
and
yeah,
months away. We're still over a year away. But those are our picks. We'll be right back with the Tinkle Rundown. And with Tinkle on this in just a moment, you're watching Sunday Morning Tinkle on Tinkle Sports and Entertainment. All right, Tinkle Rundown. I'll let you start it off, Jason.
all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell, Greg Popovich has been a hell of a coach in the NBA, and he just got his 1333 win in his coaching career. He is too shy of tying Don Nelson. Yes, that famous Don Nelson, the former GM of the Mavericks, no longer the GM of the Mavericks. Um, I could be wrong. I want to say it's the same person. Before he became a GM, he was legendary head coach. But Greg Popovich is now 3 wins away from having the most coaching wins in NBA history as a coach. Congratulations, Greg. Well deserved. You
Yeah.
had many great years in San Antonio. Um, I will say I think it's going to happen this season. If it doesn't happen this season, then definitely sometime next season. But
Oh, yeah.
Greg Popovich is way too good of a head coach to not get 3 more wins in his caliber. So,
He can thank the big three for that. His
yeah, he can.
Manu, Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, actually the Twin Towers too. The Twin Towers got him quite a few
Yeah,
wins.
Robinson.
Yeah, Robinson and Duncan there got him really
Yeah,
off the ground.
Wyatt Leonard a little bit too. Um, and others. I mean, there's been some great talent that he's had on that team. to get him all those wins. I mean, Rudy Gay, of course, Patty Mills and all those other guys in those lustrous championship years. But Greg, very soon I'm sure we're going to be on here and say that congrats, you do have the most coaching wins. I'm
Maybe
very
next
curious
week.
to happen after the All-Star break. So
Who knows? Maybe as soon as next week.
yeah, who knows? I would think so. I mean, because right now it's All-Star weekend, but who's to say that they're not going to be prepared to at least make some kind of run to possibly get to the play-in tournament? Yeah, but as I'm probably going to talk about an interesting one that kind of didn't really see coming. I knew that the Sixers wanted to trade away Ben Simmons, and they wanted another All-Star. Well, Sixers, you might have Nets, you might have been too stupid to do this, but you traded away James Harden for Ben Simmons. Why? It made absolutely no sense because we don't even know if Ben Simmons is going to play at all this year. At least James Harden was playing this year.
Exactly. And not for nothing, the James Harden, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving really never got their shot to be the big three there because one was always injured, then Kyrie started with the vaccination stuff, So,
yeah, he still can't even play home games.
It stinks because now this big three will go down as a what could have been as opposed to, what we witnessed,
Right.
So.
I know, and then I want to say at most they played like 16 games together. At most, that's not a lot.
Exactly.
That means you didn't really get many opportunities for that big three to happen. So it makes you think, why did they decide to get the three of them all together in the first place? James Harden was with...
It now looks like a wasted investment.
Yeah, it does. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the Sixers can be good with James Harden and Joel Embiid and and get that going with that. But as far as Ben Simmons with the Nets, it just it kind of makes you scratch your head. I mean, if he can get going with Steve Nash, I can't say why it wouldn't be a good thing, but it all depends on how both players will play in their respective new teams. Because then you'll really decide, did they win? Did they not win the trade? But so far, there has been one trade that's happened where a team actually has won and looked better than the other team that traded away. Kristaps Porzingis is finally traded away from the Mavericks. He gets traded to the Wizards for Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. Mind you, the Mavericks are 2-0 since that trade and have beaten pretty good teams. They beat the East leading Heat after that trade, and maybe a rising team in the future in the Pelicans. So, and mind you, Kristaps Porzingis still hasn't played for the Wizards yet. He is still currently out, but I want to say they're probably going to get him acclimated to the system during the All-Star break. So that's probably what they were waiting for. But honestly, it all depends on how Kristaps Porzingis does. When healthy, don't get me wrong, he's a great player when healthy. But the problem is, he can't stay healthy for very too long. It sucks that Mavericks gave him that big luxurious contract, which I knew was stupid because we could have used it on any other player out there. Because there were big free agents that they could have tried to draw in with that kind of money to Dallas to play with Luka Doncic.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, they gave it to Kristoffs because he was coming off a great performance in the bubble. So, but again, it all depends on who wins that trade. But as of right now, Mavericks have been winning that trade, and Luka has found new life because now he can be the all-star he wants to be. And 2 nights in a row, he's scored over 40 points. So I think he's definitely in his bag and earning that big old paycheck.
Who knows? Kristaps could rejuvenate his career. It's not over for him just yet.
I mean, he could, but there's really not much the Wizards are doing in their favor. I mean, yeah, it'd be an interesting move with Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis on the same team, but as we can tell, Kristaps Porzingis doesn't play very well with other All-Stars. He's somebody that plays well just as himself.
Yeah.
I don't think he fares well with other guys. So I don't know if this Wizards connection is going to work very well. Because if we saw what happened in Dallas, where there was rumors that both men didn't like each other at all, I just don't think I'm going to see this happening in their favor. Porzingis is going to try to be too much of an all-star. Bradley Beal is going to try to be a ball hog and try to score. So I just don't know if I see this happening very well. So we'll see what happens. But in a very interesting change of pace here, the Blazers look like they're going to be rebuilding very soon as they trade away Damian Lillard's partner in crime there, C.J. McCollum. C.J. McCollum, Larry Nance Jr., and Tony Snell get traded to the Pelicans for Josh Hart, Tomas Satoransky, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Didi Louzada, and draft compensation. If you look at that, I think the Pelicans got a hell of a lot more, or the Blazers got a lot more in store than the Pelicans did. Don't get me wrong, the Pelicans got a lot of good players. I mean, CJ McCollum with those other two guys could do some damage. And then they get two good rotational players in Larry Nance Jr. and Tony Snell. I'm really thinking that the Pelicans next year, that they keep all those players, could look very scary. Don't get me wrong. The Blazers, as much as Damian Lillard really wants to bring a ring and a championship to Portland, I think it's time for him to leave.
Yeah.
I really do think
he's going to request a trade eventually.
I know his heart is there, and he's been building it for 10 years, but I hate to say it, Damian Lillard, for what reason?
At some point, you got to realize you're fighting a losing battle.
Clearly, they don't care to reload and build around Damian Lillard. Clearly, right now, they're caring about rebuilding and getting ready for the future. Because you look at all those players, you're thinking, very rotational type players, where they care about really tanking and trying to get the best kind of draft stock they can. I feel bad for Damian Lillard, I really do, because he's literally had to help out and put that team on his back so many different times, even when they got to the playoffs. So I think that's going to take away from it's going to be my takeaways for the week. Time for yours, Brian.
All right. Well, I'm going to stick on the theme of basketball to start it off. Of course, we want to talk about who is going to be highlighting the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame finals. I almost said pro basketball, but here we go. Tim Hardaway Sr., George Karl, Manu Ginobili, and Bob Huggins, the West Virginia coach, who now has, I believe, over 900 wins, joining Bobby Knight, Mike Krzyzewski, and Jim Boeheim as the only other three in Division I basketball with that grand total. needless to say, Bob Huggins deserves to be there. What he's built in West Virginia, what he's done for that program over the last handful of years, he absolutely deserves to be in consideration for it. Mountain Man there. I think he looks like a mountain man, but hey, you know. And then Manu Ginobili, need I say more? I mean, he was probably the third wheel to Tony Parker and Tim Duncan if you look at it in hindsight, but he absolutely deserves the credit where it's due for him to get into the Hall of Fame. George Karl, an amazing coach. Tim Hardaway, another great player. But needless to say, I think this class is stocked with some pretty good talent to make this year's Hall of Fame.
And don't discredit a couple of the women that are in there as the finalists as well,
yes,
too.
Yes, absolutely. And they deserve their recognition as well. Of course, we don't know exactly who will be the final inductees, but we will keep you posted on here. But I figured I'd point out those four. Not because, listen, I support women's sports, obviously, but those four are the biggest names in the Hall of Fame ballot, induction. So, or the in terms of the class right there, they're the biggest names. So, on to my second point here. Jack Eichel, if you remember, he played for the Sabres. He was their number 1 overall pick, expected to turn around the franchise. Yeah, that lasted so long. Thank you, Terry Pegula. Terry Pegula did end up trading Jack Eichel to the Vegas Golden Knights this year. So, unfortunately, Jack Eichel no longer with the Sabres, but he, is making an impact in Vegas. His first game since March 2021. Of course, he wanted to have controversial surgery, which the team did not want him to take. So, at the end of the day, that's why he moved on and said, I want to trade, and I think it will work out for Jack Eichel here. He deserves a chance to win. He kind of wasted a lot of his years in his prime with the Sabres, who really weren't committed to winning. So, at the end of the day, time to move on.
Where I think he'll have success in the Golden Vegas Knights. Or the Vegas, the
Golden Vegas Knights. That's a new team, folks.
The Vegas Golden Knights. But so I think that he can have success there. Because it always seems like people that leave Buffalo end up finding better success elsewhere anyway. So who's to say that
could have been said about football like 10, 12 years ago? But hey,
Oh, now I know that.
Yeah, so, but anyway, I want to take this final takeaway and I want to talk some Olympics because I feel like we've really robbed people of the Olympics coverage on Tinkle Sports and Entertainment, and mainly that's not just our fault. I mean, the Super Bowl was here last week, so we really felt that was more important to cover. The week before, we had to discuss the awards, which granted we could have fit some Olympics coverage in there, but the Olympics also just started. So, I'll take away my favorite, my probably new favorite event in the Olympics. Two of my favorite athletes, Shaun White. Unfortunately, his farewell tour ends with nothing. He goes home medalless from Beijing. Chloe Kim defends her gold from Pyeongchang 4 years ago. And boy, Shaun White may be the GOAT for the men's side, but Chloe Kim will probably, when it's said and done, go down as the GOAT on the female side of snowboarding.
Yeah, I mean, it just sucks that Shaun White wasn't able to win a medal. I mean, he was a great snowboarder, skateboarder. I mean, anything that would be in events. Because I think he did snowboarding in the Olympics, but I want to say he did skateboarding in the X Games or something like that. I can't really remember, but he was always active in that sense. But at least he'll still go down in Olympic history as being a great, skateboarder, or not skateboarder, but snowboarder.
Absolutely. So. And of course, I don't know if you watched any of the rest of this, but Michaela Schifrin, man. So she does the downhill skiing. I don't exactly know the terminology for the events, and I'm sorry, I should have looked it up beforehand. Her first two events, one she was expected to medal in, and possibly even get the gold medal in, she fell I believe she fell once, and then she went out of bounds in one of the speed skiing events. So two events she was expected to medal in, she didn't do so, and that's tough because she's considered one of the best skiers, especially in U.S. history. So
crazy,
that was tough to watch. And then what was the other news? Oh my goodness, the women's hockey team got silver. But of course, all the attention this past week, an event I normally don't like watching. I don't like ice skating. I really don't. But this Russian skater, I forget what her name was, but she was accused of doping.
Oh, yeah.
And she's 15 years old. The Olympic Committee said, let's let her skate. First off, I disagree with that. I don't care that you're 15 years old. You're caught using a drug that you're not supposed to. You shouldn't be in the events.
I agree, but still.
So, but she bombed out, from what I heard. 5 falls she took in her event. So.
I mean, I know this is bad for me to say it, but it could probably be kind of karma in a sense, too.
Karma or a purpose, or purposefully foul? Think about it. She's had enough scrutiny for competing in those events still, despite all this.
So, I mean...
So, I don't know. To me, you've got to wonder, something don't sound right here.
No, not really, but... I guess we'll never find out a true meaning or true reason.
May never know.
Yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, so... That's kind of the takeaway from the Olympics, I believe, tonight. Or was it early this morning? I don't know. It might be going on as we're premiering. But final ceremonies, the closing ceremonies are Sunday, I believe, which is today. So, or it might have been overnight. Again, I don't know. Okay? I really don't know. I'm still catching up on the time zones. But those are my takeaways. Kind of a short show today, but of course we got the best part of our show every single week, and the first one since our not our channel rebrand, but our show rebrand. Tinkle on this. Who watches Get Up in the morning? Sometimes for me.
I honestly don't usually.
So, you may remember this guy. He was the co-host of Mike and Mike in the Morning. His name is Mike Greenberg. And, of course, he is the anchor for the NFL draft, the NBA draft, and NBA Countdown. But Mike Greenberg, on Super Bowl Sunday, ordered a giant tub of wings. Here's where Buffalo is going to be all ears, okay? He ordered a giant tub of wings. And they were buffalo wings, really good-looking wings. He really got a nice basket there. But he takes the wings, puts them on his plate. This is from his wife on Twitter, by the way. And the man grabs a fork and a knife to cut boned wings to get the meat out. I don't know about you, but if you come to my Super Bowl party using a fork and a knife to cut wings, I'm telling you to get the hell out, okay? I'm sorry.
thing with pizza too, because I've seen that happen too.
Bill de Blasio did that his first month in office, if I'm not mistaken, as New York City's mayor. I'm sorry, but if you do that, I'm sorry. Here's where I'm going to tie into politics. If I find out you cut your pizza or wings with a fork and a knife, I'm not voting for you as a registered voter. Just know that if I find a picture, I don't care if I find a picture of you doing something else you're not supposed to. Actually, I do. But the biggest issue for me is cutting your wings with a fork and a knife. Same thing with TV programs. Mike Greenberg, what the hell is wrong with you? Okay? How the hell do you get all the meat off, the best part of the chicken wing off, with a fork and a knife? You don't even have to answer that because there is no simple answer. It is, you need to pick it up and eat it like a fucking man. Okay? Or like a fucking person. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say man. Fucking person. For that, Mike Greenberg, Greeny, tinkle on this, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. And how about this? Maybe somebody from Buffalo should send him a video of how to actually chicken wings.
The entire city of Buffalo wants him.
Like what kind of dipping sauce too?
The entire city of Buffalo wants his head for that one. And I don't blame him.
As they should.
That should be a crime. Like, he should really be arrested. I know. Again, I'm going to tie into politics again. I know New York has bail reform, but God, Kathy Hochul, can you please institute a rule where people that cut chicken wings with a fork and a knife, they just go to jail immediately? No bail reform for them? Like,
yes,
you just got to go to jail. Sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be joking about that because the bail reform is a big issue. But, okay, fine. How's about this one instead? If you remember the Family Guy episode where Peter's in the elevator with God and he says something, then all the way to the basement of the hell, right where the furnace is. I think that's what the meme is.
No, something like that.
But yeah. Anyway, that's all we got. Jason, what's coming up on Wednesday on No Final Bell here?
Wednesday we'll probably just be recapping AEW. Oh, we'll also be talking about the divorce of Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes. Not them together, but the divorce from the company that they were in. As they are no longer part of AEW. But, again, we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about some other stuff like NWA Impact, AEW talk, some probably WWE talk in that sense. And also, The Undertaker is going to be officially inducted into the 2022 WWE Hall of Fame. Well-deserved. 30 plus years of the business, and I think he definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. So, congrats, Undertaker. What's going up on all the turn 4 there, Bri?
Well, we had a lot of fun this week talking the Daytona 500, getting you all prepared. Of course, this past Tuesday, we talked about our season preview. Friday we talked getting ready for the 500, and that is actually later today on Fox. Should be a great race, but we will be recapping that on Tuesday, the biggest race of the year on the NASCAR calendar. We'll be recapping that. We also, believe it or not, we're in February and we're already talking IndyCar. IndyCar returns next Sunday at St. Petersburg. So we will be getting everyone up to speed on that. And much like last week with the NASCAR season preview, I will be making my picks for the IndyCar season, who I think will be the champion, all that. That's all coming your way on Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, Facebook Watch and YouTube. We hope to see you here for that. But in the meantime, we want to thank you for watching. If you don't watch any of those shows, first off, what the hell is wrong with you? You're just as bad as Mike Greenberg. But secondly, I guess if you don't watch, we hope to see you here next Sunday. I don't know. Maybe we're a little upset with you. But needless to say, we will be back here next Sunday. Until then, goodbye, everyone.